How to say no, no explanations required, is not just a skill, it is a mindset shift, because most of us grow up believing that saying no is rude, selfish, or unkind. So when we finally try to say it, we immediately feel the need to soften it, justify it, explain it, and apologize for it. And we say yes to things we don't want to do, don't have energy for, or don't align with our values, not because we want to, but because we are afraid of disappointing others, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of conflict, afraid of being judged, and afraid of losing approval. And so we over-explain, hoping our reasons will make our no more acceptable. But what we don't realize is that every explanation turns our boundary into a debate, because the more you explain, the more you invite negotiation. And over time, this trains people to believe that your no is not final, that your time is flexible, your energy is accessible, and your needs are secondary, which slowly leads to exhaustion, resentment, and self-betrayal, because saying yes when you mean no is not kindness, it is avoidance. And true kindness includes honesty, even when honesty feels uncomfortable, because discomfort does not mean you are wrong, it often means you are growing. And saying no is not rejecting people, it is directing your life. It is choosing where your time, focus, and emotional energy go, because every yes costs something, and every unnecessary yes costs you peace, rest, and self-respect. And the truth is, you do not need a dramatic reason to say no. You do not need to prove that you are busy enough, tired enough, or struggling enough. Your capacity is reason enough, your boundaries are reason enough, and your mental health is reason enough. Because no is a complete sentence. It does not need decoration, it does not need justification, and it does not need an apology. Whether you say, "No, I can't," "That doesn't work for me," "I'm unavailable," or "I'll pass, thank you," and then stop talking, because silence after no is not awkward, it is powerful. And yes, some people will push back, question you, guilt you, or act offended, but people who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always resist your boundaries, and their discomfort is not your responsibility. Because boundaries are not walls meant to push people away, they are guidelines that show people how to treat you. And the right people will respect them, while the wrong people will reveal themselves, and both outcomes protect you. And guilt may show up after you say no, but guilt is temporary, while resentment lasts much longer. So choose the guilt of honoring yourself over the resentment of abandoning yourself. Because every time you over-explain, you teach people that your needs are negotiable. But every time you say no calmly and confidently, you teach people that your boundaries matter. And this is not about being cold or unkind, it is about self-trust. Because when you stop explaining yourself, you start trusting yourself, trusting your instincts, trusting your limits, and trusting your right to choose. And you are allowed to change, you are allowed to grow, and past yeses do not trap you into future ones, because respect does not require justification. And the people who truly respect you do not need explanations. They hear your no and they honor it, while those who demand reasons are not asking for clarity, they are asking for control. And your time is your life, your energy is your currency, and you do not owe the world unlimited access to you. You do not owe explanations for protecting your peace, and you do not owe anyone the parts of you that are tired, healing, or simply choosing differently. You owe yourself honesty, you owe yourself rest, you owe yourself respect, and the next time you feel the urge to explain, pause, breathe, and remember that no is enough. Part 2 begins where real life pushes back, because once you start saying no without explaining, you quickly notice how uncomfortable it feels to sit in that silence, how your mind races to fill the gap with reasons, how your body tightens as you wait for disapproval. And this moment is where most people break, not because their boundary is wrong, but because they are not used to being okay with other people's discomfort. Yet emotional maturity is realizing that you can be kind without being available, respectful without being flexible, and loving without self-sacrifice. And that silence after no is not something to fear, but something to practice. Because the urge to explain is often just an old survival habit learned from times when your needs were dismissed, questioned, or ignored. And so you learn to over-justify yourself to be taken seriously. but you are no longer that version of yourself, and you no longer need to earn the right to say no, because boundaries are not requests for understanding, they are statements of truth. And when people respond with guilt-tripping, anger, or manipulation, it reveals more about their expectations than about your character. Because anyone who respects you will not need you to bleed yourself dry to prove you care. And it is important to understand that saying no does not make you selfish, it makes you selective. And being selective is how you protect what matters. Because not everything deserves your time, not every conversation deserves your energy, and not every request deserves access to you. And this becomes especially important when you realize that constantly explaining yourself teaches others to question your decisions, but standing firm without justification teaches them that your word is final. And this confidence does not come from being loud or aggressive, it comes from being grounded, from knowing that you are allowed to prioritize yourself without guilt. And yes, you may lose some people when you stop over-explaining, but what you are really losing is the version of those relationships that depended on your silence, compliance, and exhaustion. Because healthy relationships do not require you to shrink, overfunction, or constantly prove your worth. They allow space for no without punishment. And as you practice this, you begin to notice something powerful, that your no becomes calmer, your yes becomes more meaningful, and your energy returns to you. Because every boundary you honor builds self-respect, and self-respect quietly changes how the world treats you, not through force, but through clarity. And eventually, you realize that saying no without explanation is not about pushing people away, it is about coming home to yourself, trusting that you are enough even when you do not overgive, overshare, or over-explain, and understanding that peace is not found in being endlessly accommodating, but in being deeply honest with yourself and others. Because the most powerful no is not angry or defensive, it is steady, simple, and rooted in self-worth. And when you reach that place, you no longer fear being misunderstood because you finally understand yourself.